Hello, everyone, and welcome to Durrett's Take. Let's get started. So, for this one's going to be more NBA themed here. So, as we all know, the playoffs will be coming up soon, and then, as we all know, if the Lakers are fully healthy and the Nets are fully healthy, those are the top two teams in the NBA, and those are the finals matchup. And let's say Nets win, but if LeBron is clearly not 100% right now, and that's my assumption is he won't be for the playoffs. AD, I mean, maybe it looks like he's getting there, close to 100%, but not quite there yet. We'll see if he gets there for the playoffs. Harden's out for who knows how long. He said he thinks he'll be back right before the playoffs, and we'll see if he's 100% for the playoffs. What if he has another setback? Um, so then this opens up the door for all the other teams to compete this year. So it doesn't have to be just Lakers versus Nets. And if this is the case, I'm going to go ahead and go over the top seven teams for the East and the West. I know there's eight in each conference, but it's just like whether it's the Memphis or Warriors getting the eighth spot in the West, I don't consider them a threat. Or whether it's Charlotte or Washington getting the eighth in the East, I don't consider that a threat at all. So the top seven teams in the East and the West, and give them a percentage chance of them winning a championship. Now keep in mind, if I give them like the second highest chance to win, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to the finals necessarily. That's not what the correlation is. I'm just saying that's their best chance of winning. So let's get started. So I'm gonna go from the bottom up. So the East, the seventh place team as of right now. I mean, this could fluctuate within the next week and a half. Is Miami, and I give them a 1% chance of winning. I know they got to the finals last year, and this time, I mean, the roster's mostly the same, except you just replace Kelly Olynyk with Victor Oladipo. But injuries and then other teams have kind of stepped up their game, like the Knicks, for example. So it's like it won't be easy to get to the finals like it was last year in the bubble. Especially since like players like Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, while they're good, they're just not performing the same as they did last year. So especially if they stay seventh and then have to face Brooklyn in the first round, it's just like, man, that ain't gonna cut it. So 1% chance there. Sixth place Boston, I give them also a 1% chance. I would rather buy stock though in Miami if I had it in the Boston. That's how low I am on this team. Yeah, Tatum's finally playing elite level. Jalen Brown has been off and on injured, but when he does play, he's pretty good. But the rest of the team is where kind of they bring down the Celtics, and that's why I see them getting an early exit in the playoffs. Five, Atlanta. I also give them a 1% chance. Never say never, but I mean, I love the job Nate McMillan has been doing, but two things go against Atlanta. One, besides, Lou Williams, Capella, you have a very young team with little to none playoff experience, which I don't like in the playoffs. But then also, is that McMillan has never gone out of the first round of the playoffs. He's a bad playoff coach, so that's why I feel like the chance is pretty low here. Fourth to New York, I give them a 4% chance. So I will say if New York can get Philly in the second round, I think New York can cause some problems there. Not say they would win, but cause some problems for sure. Because Brooklyn just has too much offense for New York to kind of guard. Um, so that's why I think if they can face Philly now, where it's like Ben Simmons doesn't shoot at all, Joel Embiid is just like he can shoot, but he's most likely going to be around the paint for the playoffs, stuff like that. And then if certain people like if you can just shut down the Seth Curry or something like or Danny Green and get rid of that shooting option right there, and then it's pretty easy to slow them down, if you will. But I feel like they have more than 1% chance like the other teams, but again, still not 100% chance to do anything there. Still need a couple key pieces. Third seed Milwaukee, I give them a 13% chance. They are in the double digits, which is nice. I know Milwaukee's playing well recently, but don't let that fool you. Playoffs is about matchups and coaching. Budenholzer, we know by now, is not a playoff coach. Period. I don't expect this time to be any different. Also, I think Milwaukee already, while they actually match up with Brooklyn pretty well, they don't match up with Philly well at all because with Embiid, Simmons, and Howard can all clog the paint, so Giannis can't get those paint baskets, which forces him to be a perimeter player. And as we know, especially in the playoffs, if that happens, Milwaukee doesn't win. So I feel like that would be the case once again. Now I know this time the Bucks have Drew Holiday's clutch in the playoffs. I know they have PJ Tucker now, so I feel like they can get to these two conference finals like they did back 2 years ago and do something. But I feel like as far as getting the finals, I'm still not buying that. Um, Two seed Brooklyn, I give them a 17% chance. I think Harden, not even 100%, and their lack of size and defense. I think Brooklyn Nets can still win it all if that's the case, but it's just not going to be in that easy, if you will, because especially since they don't have a good big man and they don't have play defense. Can they defy the odds and be a bad defense team and win a championship? We'll see. Philadelphia, I give them a 14% chance. Logically, this should be the year that Philly wins it if Harden and LeBron are not 100%, logically. And now that Doc Rivers is the coach, that's obviously an upgrade over Brett Brown. But the question remains, does Embiid and Simmons shrink in the playoffs like they've done in the past? Or was that attributed to Brett Brown's fault for their playoff woes? We're about to find out. Now in the West, 7 seed Portland, I give them a 2% chance. Don't bite stock in the Portland. So if you're doing this, most people, if you were doing this last year, most people bought stock in the Portland to give the Lakers a run for their money, if not outright upset them. And as we saw, the Lakers gentlemen swept them because Portland can't play any defense, and Portland still can't play any defense. What do you expect them to do any different this time? And as we saw against Utah and Phoenix, I mean, they haven't meshed well with them at all during this regular season. So, what I know, Dame is Dame and all that, but it's just like expect early exit once again from Portland. 60 Lakers, I give them a 5% chance of winning. Now you may be thinking that is such a low percentage. Why give them that? I truly think LeBron won't be held 100% for the playoffs. I truly think that. No, I'm not buying into he's never going to be 100% ever again. I'm not buying into that, like he said. But for the playoffs, I assume he won't be 100%. And if he's not here 100%, then Lakers don't have a chance. And it's as simple as that. Now, maybe they can get to the second round. I can see that. But anything past that, I just don't see it. It'll be wishful thinking at that point. 5 seed Dallas, I also give them a 5% chance. Again, here's why the percentage is so low. One is Kristaps Porzingis has not been healthy much all season, period, and I doubt that will suddenly change for the playoffs. Also, they've been having other key rotation players out, and then also Luka. Besides Luka, the rest of the Mavericks team is really bad in clutch situations. As an improvement for last year. And if you're bad in clutch situations, it's just going to be hard for you to advance in the playoffs. I can see them making the second round this time, unlike last year, depending on who the matchup is and they get in the first round. But again, just don't see much progress there. Denver, I'm giving them a 1% chance. I'm sorry, Denver fans. I paid attention to Denver. I know they're doing pretty well since Jamal Murray's went down, but as we know, the playoffs are different. That's why Jamal Murray was averaging 40 in the playoffs and stuff like that. It's like, you will not get out of the first round without him. Simple as that. Clippers, I give them a 15% chance. If there is a year to go to the finals finally, or let alone even make it to the Western Conference Finals for the first time ever, this is the year with LeBron being unhealthy. And now with Tyronn Lue now as the coach, maybe things will be different. And also maybe with playoff Rondo, things will be different. Now, because I give them the highest percent chance of all the NBA teams in the West, does not mean I'm going to pick them to go to the finals. Like I said earlier, that's not the correlation there, but I think that they have the best chance out of all the West teams to get there. Phoenix, I'm giving them only a 7% chance. Again, here's why the percentage is so low here. A couple reasons. One, again, kind of like Atlanta, young team, besides, CP3 obviously, and Crowder's not a lot of playoff experience within the team. So that kind of, I just don't like that much, combination that much. But then also, CP3 has never made it past the Western Conference Finals. So again, how are we gonna expect CP3 all of a sudden change things just like that? I don't see that. So therefore, that's why I don't see them getting out of the West. And then last but not least, Utah right now is number 1. I give them a 14% chance, so tied with Philly there. Which means I give Utah a decent chance. I know Mitchell and Conley are banged up right now, but if they can get healthy, and from what I know, Mitchell's ankle injury is not as serious as LeBron's ankle injury, which is good. I have confidence Mitchell can be 100% for the playoffs if he can get back for the last week of the regular season and perform. But there's a bunch of different combinations here that factor Utah's a pretty good chance. I mean, they finally have depth, which they've never had much depth before. Like, they can usually never go past 6 players, 7 players, but now they can finally do that. And still produce. So they have depth now, and they're a top 5 offense and defense, but then also they're a good 3-point shooting team, and they're the best at it. And as we've seen with the Warriors in the past and stuff, that can get you far in the playoffs and win championships. And then also, I mean, if Mitchell can average like around 40 points like he did last year in the playoffs, and bam, right there, they're going to get out of the West. But I'm not going to rely on that like he did last year in the bubble. So the only two reasons why I don't give them a higher percent chance is one, I feel like the Clippers schematically are the worst matchup for the Jazz, in my opinion. I know fully healthy they have tied the series 1-1 each, but I think the Clippers' length and defense that's one thing that can cause Jazz some fits. So we shall see, but I feel like that's going to be the ultimate ball of Utah. So again, to kind of recap here, Brooklyn has the highest with 17% chance, Clippers second, 50% chance, Philly, Utah tied for third, 14% chance, Milwaukee fifth, 13% chance, Phoenix sixth, 7% chance, Dallas and Lakers tie with 5% chance, and then Knicks eighth best, 4% chance, and then everyone else is either 1 2%. So let me know what you think of that list. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Please subscribe to my channel. Tell everyone about me. Thank you very much, and you'll have a wonderful day.